So a few weeks ago, I made a video about how the currently launched Bitcoin ETF was going to be a huge game changer for the cryptocurrency market. And we can already start to see that happening with Bitcoin, as at right now, Bitcoin's price is currently sitting at $51,000. A lot of people do not realize how significant this Bitcoin ETF that was just launched is. Since making that video, Bitcoin's price has actually exploded to the upside, with Bitcoin currently sitting at $51,000. This is just $18,000 away from its all-time high. And people do not even realize it yet. This is how the bull market starts and people don't even realize what is going on. Alright, you can see Ethereum right now. Ethereum just crossed $3,000 this morning, and right now it's currently sitting at $2,900, right? BNB is already at $364, and there's just been a lot of run in the cryptocurrency market, but nobody is talking about it. So the essence of this video is just kind of like show you guys how significant the Bitcoin ETF that was launched recently, how significant it is to the market, and how much money is currently getting into the market, and how much money will continue to get into the market. And before you know it, there will be little to no Bitcoin left for anybody at a cheaper price. Okay, now it is reported that over $11 billion have been accumulated into the Bitcoin ETF since its approval in January. That is over $11 billion worth of Bitcoin, all right, that is being bought off the cryptocurrency markets and going into the wallets of these institutions. Now, for those who don't understand the significance of this, let me break it down to you. I mentioned it in my last video, but I'm just going to mention it here again. What happens here is that why this $11 billion is such a big deal, all right, that is tens of thousands, if not even hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin that is being accumulated just within a space of 1 month, okay? The reason why this is a very significant figure is that when a Bitcoin ETF is purchased from these big institutions like Fidelity, BlackRock, and the rest, that institution, be it BlackRock, whoever they are, that is offering that ETF to me, would have to turn around and go to the market and buy Bitcoin. Before, they didn't have to do this, okay? This is the difference between Bitcoin Futures ETF and Bitcoin Spot ETF, which is what we have now. In Bitcoin Futures ETF, they do not have to go around and buy the real Bitcoin. So which means you can just buy the thing on their platform and they do not have to buy Bitcoin. So in that case, since they're not buying Bitcoin, they're not taking it off the market, right? There's no economics in supply and demand happening right there. So the fact that people are buying that futures ETF, nothing is being done to the price of Bitcoin. All right. But when you now have spot Bitcoin ETF, like what we have now, is that when I now say I want to buy their spot ETF, that broker or that institution would have to make sure that they hold that equivalent in the real Bitcoin. The essence of these Bitcoin spot ETFs and Bitcoin futures ETF, whatever it is just for you to be able to trade easily. Just for you to be able to kind of like go on the platform of these institutions or these brokers and then easily just buy, sell Bitcoin without having to even dabble into the cryptocurrency market. All right, so you're not really dabbling into the cryptocurrency market. What I mean by that is that you're not buying USDT to kind of like trade on an exchange like we have on Binance, where you would have to buy USDT in order to be able to buy and sell your Bitcoin or buy and sell Ether or whatever it is. These kind of investors that they are catering to, that this spot Bitcoin ETF is catering to, is just people who just want to get into the market and not have to really bother about buying any crypto or knowing anything about having a wallet or anything like that, right? So there's a different kind of investor that this caters to. Investors who just want to have to deposit some money into a brokerage account, be able to buy stocks on it, be able to buy commodities on it, trade the forex market, but also be able to still dabble into cryptocurrency market as well, right? Like what we have with Binance and the other cryptocurrency exchanges like it is that you cannot buy stocks on it. You cannot buy shares on it. You cannot buy all that traditional investment type of vehicle, right? You can't dabble into that. But the advantage with a traditional brokerage firm or a traditional institution is that when you decide that you want to buy stocks, or when you decide that you want to buy shares or whatever it is, you can do that. But previously, you couldn't get into the Bitcoin market from your traditional brokerage account. All right. So the advantage of this now is that it now makes it possible that in the traditional brokerage account, we now have the spot Bitcoin ETF where I can now choose to buy Bitcoin. But I know nothing about having a private wallet or having an address or having a wallet address to send money into it. And I don't know anything about it. I just want to be able to buy Bitcoin if I see that the price is going to go up or go down, right? That is from the investor's perspective. All right. Where this is now significant for we who are invested into cryptocurrency markets and we are actually buying Bitcoin and hold Bitcoin, where that is significant for us is that these institutions, whenever their customers are buying Bitcoin, that issuer of that Bitcoin ETF, like Grayscale, BlackRock, I mentioned all this in my previous video, that issuer would have to now turn around and buy the actual Bitcoin, would actually have to come to the cryptocurrency market and buy the actual thing. If the trader decides to sell that Bitcoin, then that Bitcoin will now be sold by these institutions. I mentioned all that in my previous video, that this is the disadvantage of it, is that yes, they can buy the Bitcoin, but if that trader decides to sell that Bitcoin, the institution doesn't have, they don't need to hold that Bitcoin anymore. They can choose to sell it, or they can just choose to still keep it in case somebody else comes to buy it. This is why this is such a huge deal for the cryptocurrency market, and why this $11 billion, people are not really taking into account how much of a big deal this is. And this is just within what, a month, and it has accumulated over $11 billion already. And the thing about this is that this opens up the door to so much more money to get into the cryptocurrency market, because there are some institutions like insurance, like retirement, all that kind of money that usually just sits in maybe a stock asset or something like that, right? They were not able to get into the cryptocurrency market before, right? They are not legally allowed to get into the cryptocurrency market. They can't just buy and hold Bitcoin, all right? They have to get into Bitcoin some kind of way through these institutions. But these institutions, prior to January, when they were allowed to start issuing Bitcoin ETFs, they weren't also able to still hold Bitcoin until the Bitcoin ETF was approved. So you have billions and hundreds of billions of dollars that were not allowed to get into the cryptocurrency market because maybe it's too risky, or liquidity, or whatever it is. They were not allowed, they are not legally allowed to hold Bitcoin, right? But because of the approval of this Bitcoin ETF now, which means they can just go through this institution and say, okay, we would like to buy some Bitcoin ETF, right? You go ahead and go and buy the Bitcoin and hold it. We just know that we are buying this amount of Bitcoin, and then we can buy and sell at any time and there won't be any problem. We're just going to buy a paper asset that is backed by the Bitcoin. That is exactly what Bitcoin ETF is, right? So all these institutions that were not legally allowed to get into the cryptocurrency market can now get into the cryptocurrency market, even though not directly, but directly through the institution who is offering that Bitcoin ETF. This is why this is such a huge deal. And as Bitcoin's price continues to inch up higher in price, these guys are going to get more crazy into buying the Bitcoin, right? They're going to get more crazy into buying these Bitcoin ETFs, which, like I said, the institutions are legally required to buy the actual Bitcoin, right? So there's less and less and less Bitcoin for you and I to buy, which means that Bitcoin's price will continue to go higher. This is why we are not even fully into the bull market yet. Like, we just started the bull market in January, right? This is just February, all right? Towards the end of February, and Bitcoin is already sitting at just above $50,000. That's just literally $18,000 away from its previous high, and nobody's even talking about it, right? Now, I'm not guaranteeing you that Bitcoin's price is going to go to $70,000 before the end of, or before the middle of this year, but you can just put one and two together and see that these guys are not playing, all right? There's a lot of money getting into this market, and people are not even realizing what is going on. And obviously, it's going to affect the rest of the cryptocurrency market as well, because you can see with Bitcoin's dominance currently sits at 53%. So it means that Bitcoin is 53% likely to control the rest of the market, right? That's more than 53%. So which means as Bitcoin continues to move higher in price, it's going to carry the rest of the cryptocurrency market as well with it. And obviously, when the bull market is now fully in effect, when prices are now going higher, this market dominance is going to drop, because a lot of other cryptocurrencies are now going to start going even higher than Bitcoin in terms of percentage, right? So right now 53% is still okay for Bitcoin's dominance. Is totally normal because we are just really starting to kick off the bull markets. But like I said, even with just that, the price are going crazy. Bitcoin is already at $50,000, guys. People don't even realize how much of a big deal this is. People don't even know what is even happening, right? A lot of people got into the cryptocurrency market the last bull cycle, towards the bear cycle, and then left the cryptocurrency market. People don't realize how much of a big deal this is. Now, this is another article that just came out today about how we currently have the busiest session since January, right? That's ETF. Bitcoin ETFs have the busiest session since January, right? There has been trading spikes from a lot of popular institutions that are dealing in Bitcoin ETFs, right? So it says here that Bloomberg Exchange Traded Funds analyst Eric Balchunas, I hope I'm pronouncing his name well, noted a particular uptick in volume for HODL and BTCW. These are like Bitcoin ETF names, right? It also says here that volume amounted to nearly $2 billion, the highest total since the first day of trading on January 11th. So January 11th, Bitcoin ETFs were approved, but this article just came out today, and right now they have nearly $2 billion worth of volume, and this has been the highest since January. Bitcoin's price is going crazy. Bitcoin's price is going to go crazy, and people don't even realize it. By the time people realize it, it's not like it's too late, but yeah, obviously you're not going to get Bitcoin at $50,000 anymore. So look at an example here. This is the HODL ETF, all right? Their volume is just under $400 million. We have Wisdom Tree. Theirs is BTCW. Theirs is $221 million worth of trading. And then we have Bitwise, which is $178 million worth of trading. Now, get this, right? The Vanex HODL, that's the HODL ETF, right? Theirs is up by 14 times their volume, right? They do not normally trade in this amount of volume. Their volume is normally 14 times less than what we have here, all right? So they have their trading volume of just today at $258 million, all right? And that is 14 times, that's a 14 times jump over its daily average. They never ever traded this amount of volume before. Why? Because traders on their platform, or the people who are interested in buying the Bitcoin spot ETF on their own platform, on this Vanex platform, they are all deciding that, you know what, Bitcoin is going to go to the moon. Why don't I buy Bitcoin? Why don't I get into the cryptocurrency market and buy Bitcoin through this exchange? This is why their volume is up by 14 times and up by $258 million just today. And then it also says here, which is what I was telling you guys, that it's not just one big investor, right? Which would make sense because a big investor decided to put in $258 million worth of order to buy Bitcoin ETF, right? No. But instead, it is 32,000 individual trades, which is 60 times its average trade, right? There's huge volumes happening in the marketplace for this asset. And what does VanEck do? That's the exchange that offers this Bitcoin ETF. What do? They will turn around and turn all these 32,000 individual trades into real Bitcoin purchase orders. They have to make sure that they hold $258 million worth of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Here's another thing that you guys also need to know is that gold also has an ETF, right? They've been approved for like a very, very long time. In fact, gold has like $10 trillion or something like that. There has been a total net outflow of gold ETF into Bitcoin ETFs. Basically, people are selling their gold ETF to buy Bitcoin ETF. And nearly just $10 billion has left. And that's such a tiny amount because gold ETF is actually the largest ETF out there. What does that do for the price of Bitcoin? It goes higher. So anyways, that is something that I just wanted to like let you guys know, because I feel like nobody's talking about this. Nobody is even thinking about this perspective, and things are happening, right? But the thing is that it's always so unfortunate that people do not know until when the Bitcoin crosses $70,000, goes to $80,000. People will now start getting crazy about it. That, oh, have you seen Bitcoin's price is this? Have you seen Bitcoin price is that? And then it's like, where were you all this while when this was happening? People still don't know that this is the price of Bitcoin. All right. Anyways, I just wanted to let you guys know about that information and do with it what you want to do with it. This is not financial advice, obviously. I'm just letting you guys know what I see in the markets and what I would like to do myself moving forward, and you make your own decision as well. All right, so that's it for this episode, and I will be talking to you guys next week. Cheers, guys.